Yes, welcome to the program. Now we are trying to get Ashraf Garda onto the stream, the Facebook stream and YouTube stream. We are hearing his voice on the other end, but we're not seeing his beloved face. So let's see if he can reconnect to us. Now, many of you may know Ashraf Garda through his legendary broadcast on SAFM that took place for many, many years. And then last year, we had the honor of having him as a presenter for the month of Ramadan on Salam Media as well. And he's also the chief driver now of a campaign called Champion South Africa. It's a nation building movement with the vision to move South Africa from a mid table nation to a champion nation. And I think that's so, so important. We see things happening in South Africa, but it's always like, mediocre. It's just there. It's mid table. It's average. We go to sporting tournaments and we like there, but we're not there. We never right at the top. We participate in World Cups. We participate, and you see the South African team choking right at the end. Or you see, we compete at different levels in terms of service delivery. We definitely are struggling as a nation, as a people, and that's why I think this is such an important initiative to make us that champion nation, to take us and make us a leading nation in the world. And I think we have him online, but it's just the audio. We still can't see him. But nonetheless, let's have this chat. Assalamu alaikum, Ashraf, and welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam. So you can't see me. My apologies. I'm not too sure why.
We've turned you into a proper radio guest this morning.
Well, there you
People can hear you.
are.
Much as it's been like this for much of your life, I think, on SAFM.
Mm,
Uh,
mm, mm.
but anyway, tell us about that experience at the South African national broadcaster, such a huge platform. What was it like for you during your years at SAFM?
I think for me it on the one hand it suggested a level of achievement because obviously for you to be on that platform or on those platforms suggests that you there must be something about your ability, alhamdulillah, that suggests that you can deliver to an audience on the one hand. On the other hand, it also gave me this great privilege to be able to connect with people nationwide. And that for me remains like probably the number one issue, the ability to be able to connect with people across the length and breadth of our country as opposed to small pockets of communities. And that platform certainly did that all through the years.
Absolutely, and I think many people will remember some of the great interviews that you conducted there. It also led you then to the point where I think you wanted to take our country to the next level, from a mid-table nation to a champion nation using champion South Africa. What was the inspiration behind that?
Strange enough, it first was inspiration between myself and my son Zayed. We had a chat, and he suggested we maybe start an awards event around champions because he had seen some other people abroad do that. But then it evolved over the last couple of years to not just giving off awards, but at the same time uh, to be able to not just give off awards, but also to inspire champion-like thinking across the board. And I mean, that's where we are now. So what's inspired it really is being a citizen of this country, of our country, and to understand the fact that if our country works and wins as a nation, then it means you and I have a better life as absolutely. Conversely, if our country is not delivering on 10 different levels, then there's a good chance that we as individuals and as families would also not be delivering. So what inspired that was this concept: when you win, South Africa wins, and that would be the essence of Champion South Africa. And try and build and to try and create dialogues and conversations where, at the very least, if nothing else, we just connect to your mind. So what I call it champion mind or champion mind thinking, because from a Muslim point, we always say you can't even make salah without making a niyyah. There must be an intention behind it. So in the same way, to becoming a champion nation relies on individuals, but it does rely on the individual collective. But before that, it does rely on the individuals deciding that they want to become champions in the first place. So therefore, champion thinking or champion minds is critical to setting the platform for a champion nation.
Now, this is a tribute to South African Muslim broadcasters, and we've chatted to a range of people over the last few days in the month of Ramadan. And you've had the opportunity to observe Muslim media, being a broadcaster yourself at the national broadcaster, the SABC, and observe the development, the growth of the Muslim broadcasting and media sphere over the last 25 odd years. What are some of your observations regarding this and some of your critiques, even, and points of how we can improve?
Well, it's a strange one, and it's not for me to sort of give a complete critique because yes, very much most of my work in media has been outside of, let's call it, Muslim spaces, right? So I'm not that privy to all the information, excepting to say that I think is Muslim media relevant? Absolutely. Does it deliver to its audiences? Absolutely. Has it moved away from simply speaking to pockets of communities and then picking up issues of national interest? Absolutely, to the point where someone could watch Salam Media or many other stations, which may be Muslim in ethos, but pick up the Muslim vibe, but at the same time also they're able to pick up many of the current affairs issues that affect human beings, not just Muslims in the country. Now, that may not have happened before, but I think over the years it initially may have been very parochial, just talk about Muslim issues. I think that has evolved. The point is, for example, COVID-19 is a Muslim issue. The issue of education is a Muslim issue. The issue of crime is a Muslim issue. The issue of whether you go for Hajj or not is a Muslim issue, and so on. So I think it has evolved. I think Muslim media generally has been very stable, meaning that, of course, there must be challenges, and you would know more than I do. But within that, each one of these many radio and TV channels, I think they've established unique niches where they can talk to audiences daily. And I think Muslim media is richer for that, and the Muslim community is richer for that.
We must apologize that this is supposed to have been a video conversation, but as you can see, you can see my face there, but you can't see Ashraf's. And it is supposed to be going out on Facebook and our YouTube channel, so it will be available there. Uh, Taking a look at the development of social media platforms like the one that we are on right now, as opposed to the traditional radio setup, and even going into print and some of the magazine publications, where do you foretell or how do you see media developing, taken into consideration all the challenges, the COVID and economics and whatever else is happening in the world? But where is media moving in the next couple of years, Ashraf?
Well, I think technologically, you've just mentioned it. Some may talk about Salam Media as a radio station, whether it's a radio station or an online station. You're talking about YouTube. You're talking about Facebook Live. My goodness, so that synergy using different mechanisms to deliver to audiences is already there. So I think one can't think about radio as linear any longer. It's actually not linear, right? And that has developed over the years. In terms of the content, right? I think more and more we've seen that when it comes to breaking news, then platforms like Twitter is first with the news, right? To the point where ministers and others will first tweet, and then the mainstream media will follow it. And I don't think you're going to beat that. You can only beat that if you have an exclusive on the story. But more than by and large, whether it's public officers or whether it's even people observing, Twitter is going to be first with the news, which means that media, therefore, not just Muslim media, would probably have to be better with analysis rather than just being first with the news. Because if you're going to compete on first with the news, there's a good chance you're always going to lose. But you can deliver on analysis that I think social media cannot do in 280 characters.
Mm-hmm. And looking at the Muslim community in its entirety, it's changed dramatically over the years. We've seen people from different countries making South Africa it's a melting pot. We've seen people come into the faith. We've seen communities grow and develop, and it's really a beautiful development, I must say. But we've also been pretty harsh amongst ourselves to ourselves. What kind of words of advice can you offer to the Muslim community living and existing in a broader South African society?
Well, I think the first advice is to understand the last point you made, living in a broader society. That it's something I've spoken about before, and I feel strongly about, that the best Muslim you can be is one who can contribute to the upliftment of society in the country they reside on for all peoples. Now, someone like your dad, former MC for Transport, is a good example of that. And there are many other Muslims who do just that. That means public servants, and whether you're a broadcaster, you're also a public servant, right? But the key point I'm making is the mindset has got to be what's right for the entire country as opposed to what's right for Muslim issues. And I say that very, very topical because even now, as we're talking, there's been slight shifts and changes from Muslims about whether they should even apply to perform prayers in congregation or not because of the lockdown, etc. The point I'm making is it's not about the merits of each case, but it has to be seen through the lens of what is right for South Africa as opposed to just what's right for a narrow interest. And I'm strongly suggesting, therefore, that Muslims must see themselves as part of the whole. And I'll repeat what I've said before, and I'm by no means the perfect model of a Muslim, no, but some of the aspects I picked up on, particularly this description of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet of Allah, where he's been described as rahmatul lil alameen, and that's never left me because it loosely means mercy unto the worlds in a plural form. So clearly it's not a mercy to Muslims only, right? So when we talk about following a sunnah, that is also a sunnah. Can you as a Muslim, can you be a mercy unto the worlds? And in South Africa's case, a mercy unto South Africa. So can your actions, whether it's a presenter or a talk show host or reporter, as an imam, as a teacher, as a politician, can those actions in effect be viewed as a mercy unto your country? Because that would be the guiding line. If you do that in all aspects then of your activities, well, that's the best advice I can give to you as a Muslim.
Ashraf Garda, we leave it on that point. Jazakallah khair, and thank you so much for all the wonderful contributions you have made to the South African scene, to the media field, and to society in general. We thank you for all of that, the sacrifices. Many of us may never know what it actually what went into getting you to where you are, and continue to inspire. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam. I appreciate you giving me the platform, and thank you for allowing me to share my views to your audience.
Yes, that brings us to the end of today's program. We'll catch you at the same time, same place tomorrow, inshallah. I'm Yaz Harvadi, fi amanillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.